par 4. Again here, straight away, except that the hole, it tails a little bit and dog legs left. But for the drive, primarily just straight. And this one is actually straight. I learned my lesson. Right down the middle. A little high on the face, but hey, it happens, it's straight. Let's take that. You know, you can't get too serious about this game. I mean, it's fun, but it can be really, really challenging too. And I think that's what I love about it. You know, I don't have the perfect swing. I don't play a lot of golf. I spent the majority of my time on the PGA Tour helping other players be great at their game. So my game never had to be great. And when your game doesn't have to be great, and you're never competing and you're never kind of being tested, you kind of lose the desire to even play the game. And I can tell you, for the last 10 years, I haven't played a lot of golf. I got to do some awesome things and travel a lot of cool places, but the last place I wanted to be after being on a golf course all day and trying to compete against the best in the world, you know, and helping my athletes compete against the best, was a golf course. I did not want to be on a golf course, anywhere but a golf course. So that's really hard to work on your game when you're helping golfers get better, and then your escape has to be something other than a golf course. It doesn't really help the game too much, but you know, I'm starting to play a little bit more, and I'm starting to kind of get back into the patterns that I used to have and trying to get my body a little bit better and swinging the club. But most importantly than anything else is I don't play for a living, and that's a beautiful thing. I don't need to play great golf. That's not what's important to me. What's important to me is just actually enjoying myself, going out and having a good time. And I honestly don't care what I shoot. I don't care if I play old sentimental clubs. I love the game in its purity. I don't play for the trophies. I don't play for the money. I couldn't, you know, I helped athletes do that, but I don't do that. And I have to keep things in perspective. I play because I love this game and because I think that it's one of the best, if not the most challenging games in the entire world. And I love it. And I think it's important to understand, like, there's an aspect of fun and having fun. My favorite PGA tournament was Kiowa Island, you know? Bubba didn't practice much that week. We shared a house with Ricky Fowler. We literally had Joe Gibbs' house, so anybody who watches NASCAR or Washington Redskins ex-head coach, you know, knows who Joe Gibbs is. We had his house. This thing, it like had 20 bedrooms. It was crazy. We had this huge place to ourselves on the beach, and we just had fun the whole week. And you know, it's memories like that that kind of just bring me back to why I love this game so much. You know, forget about hitting terrible shots or shanking a shot. I don't care. I can't get upset. I've had incredible experiences like that. You know, jumping off the pool and doing backflips. You know, this game is fun, and I want to have more people come into this game and experience that fun that I've been able to experience for so long, and share that love affair with me. All right, I kind of ran around a little bit, and I couldn't even find my yardage. And I'm not going to panic, because I honestly believe that you need to just kind of look at the shot and have a good feel on how far it's playing because of wind and other factors. You know, this right here looks like a 115-yard shot. You know, I might be a couple yards off, but I've got to like practice that and hone that so I can actually become more of a field player. If I'm always looking at a number, if I'm always kind of getting an idea of how far it plays and taking that number and assessing it against something, I'm always going to lose a little bit of the feel and the imagery that comes with being a field player. And I want to be both. It's not an easy thing to do when you don't practice that much, but if I never practice feel, I'll never get good at feel. 115. That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm guesstimating. I guess we're going to find out if I'm right. I hit it about 115, 120-ish, left side of the green. All right. I guess I was right. Feels good to be right. You know, that shot was just a feel shot. And I was able to feel the right distance and hit it exactly how I wanted to. And you know, constantly, as I even play this sport, you know, as I'm in a normal round, I start thinking about all these memories and incidents that came up. I'm actually caddying for Ryan Moore. This is actually at Ridgewood during the first FedEx Cup. And I'll never forget, first FedEx Cup tournament. And 2009, I believe. I'm looking at the yardage book. I'm trying to assess the yards really quickly. He grabs the yardage book, kind of puts his hand over it, and says, "Don't tell me what yardage it is. Look out there and tell me what we got." And he kind of took all my power away. As a caddy, you know, or helping out my player, I relied on numbers. I rely on yardages. That's all I could really kind of give. He wanted to be more of a feel caddy. He wanted me to kind of know that it was a pitching wedge just by looking at it. The same thing he did. And he helped me become a field caddy, helped me become a field player. And because he's a field player, Bubba's a field player, Dustin Johnson, these guys are field players. They just feel out the shot. And I think that's really, really special. I think it's the most consistent. I think a lot of players that actually rely on particular methods, that fades, you know? To have feel, that never goes away. And I think that's the longevity aspect that a lot of players don't have anymore. One year they can be great, and the next year they're not. Well, analytics, being an analytical player, that only can take you so far. You forget after a while how to hit a shot. Field players, they never forget. They never forget because it's actually deep within them, and that can very rarely be changed. All right, so had this little mound I couldn't really see. It went a little further than I thought. Maybe it wasn't 115. maybe it was more like 105 and I hit it 115. It's hard to know. It's kind of why it's nice to have numbers, but it's nice to come out and actually play without a yardage book. And I would challenge anybody who's listening to try that one time. Just no yardage book, just use your eyesight, just rely on your instincts and play around and see how you do. For me, reading a putt, the truest form for me is just getting below the hole and looking up at it. As a caddy, it's really tough. A player asks you what a putt's gonna do and you haven't hit a putt in 2 weeks. And you have to decipher what a green's gonna do. And he's the one hitting it. So it's really hard to basically decide where this putt's gonna be, pointing a number or getting an overall feel of what it's gonna do. But looking at a hole, if you can find the fall line of every single hole, basically where water would drain, if you were to pour water onto that hole, you know, it's gonna drain in a certain position. If you create that fall line, you find it right here, you know everything right of this hole is gonna fall towards that fall line. So everything's gonna break to the left. And everything left over here of the fall line is gonna break to the right. So finding the fall line is instrumental in giving an overall idea of where the actual putt is going to move direction-wise. And a fall line doesn't just come at the back of the hole, it moves all the way through the hole. So expect that fall line to actually come out one side and extend out the opposite end of the cup. Okay. Tracking. Ooh, about a foot short, maybe a foot and a half. Leaving it short on the last hole. What am I doing? All right, this thing is like 3 feet. I thought it was like a foot and a half. I have to check my eyesight. Guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Really appreciate spending some time with me, hearing some of my stories, my experiences, and sharing them with me. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you don't miss any of these stories. And at the highest level, that's needed. But for the amateurs, not so much. So my advice is not to buy into the propaganda, because even the PGA Tour players do. They feel that pressure. But to actually really focus on your game, your positions, your body.